There are only 3 companies on Earth that build passenger jets at scale. You already know 2 of them, Boeing, Airbus, the third one is Brazilian, and in the part of the sky those 2 walked away from, it isn't third. It's first. Here's the thing nobody outside the industry tells you. The commercial sky is not a duopoly, it's a trio. Boeing and Airbus fight over the big metal. Single aisle and wide body, 150 seats and up. But the plane that takes you from a small city to a hub, 2 seats on each side of the aisle. That's a different market. And in that market, Embraer is number 1. Canada's Bombardier tried and quit. It sold its regional jet line and handed its bigger plane to Airbus. So Embraer is third in total. But in the slice of sky the giants abandoned, it's the leader. And here's the kicker for an American audience. You've almost certainly flown one and never knew it. That regional jet on American Eagle, United Express, Delta Connection, a huge share of those are Embraer E175s, built in Brazil. Now, the question that should bug you, how does a developing country build one of the 3 jet makers on Earth? Samba, beaches and aerospace engineering? This is the part the outside story always misses. Embraer was not a free market miracle. It was a state project that worked. In the 1940s and 50s, Brazil built an engineering school modeled on MIT. They called it the ITA, plus a military research center, the CTA. For 2 decades, a poor country quietly trained world-class engineers. Then, in 1969, the government founded Embraer to turn that science into industry. That's not the Silicon Valley story of a lone genius and venture capital. That's long horizon industrial policy. Patience paid for by the state. If you saw my last video on how Brazil became the most automated farm on Earth, same pattern, state science. Decades of work. Then a global export weapon. Embraer is that pattern in the sky. But it almost died. In the early 90s, a project called the CBA-123 burned hundreds of millions and got cancelled. The state was broke, the president was being impeached. So in 1994, on the edge of bankruptcy, Embraer was privatized, sold at auction. What saved it wasn't a clever government plan. It was one stubborn little plane, the ERJ-145, a 50-seat regional jet. It first flew in 1995, and it fit American regional airlines like a glove. Over 1,000 of them got built. The company that supposedly threatens the US market was resurrected by the US market. There's even an American quirk behind it. US airline contracts have something called a scope clause, a union rule that caps regional jets at about 76 seats. Embraer's jets fit under that cap perfectly. So part of its dominance in America comes from an American labor rule. Fast forward to today, Embraer's revenue just hit a record, over $7.5 billion. Its order backlog is the biggest in its history. But the story that should really get your attention is military. Embraer built a cargo plane called the C-390, and it's doing something that was supposed to be impossible. It's beating the American legend, the Lockheed C-130 Hercules, head to head. For 70 years, if a country needed a tactical airlifter, the answer was the Hercules, a propeller plane, the default. Then the Netherlands ran a competition, the C-130 versus the Brazilian C-390, and they picked Brazil. Why? The C-390 is a jet, faster, flies higher, available more of the time and cheaper to maintain. And it wasn't a one-off. Portugal, Hungary, Austria, the Czech Republic, South Korea. And in May 2026, the United Arab Emirates, the biggest order yet. NATO countries, retiring the American workhorse for a plane from the global south. And Embraer isn't sitting still. It spun off a company called Eve, building an electric air taxi, a 4-seat aircraft that takes off straight up. No runway. It's flown its prototype dozens of times. Certification is years out, not months. These things always slip. But the bet is the same instinct that built the company. Get into a category before the giants do, and own the part of the sky they ignore. So here's what the outside world keeps getting wrong about Brazil. The story isn't a poor country got lucky. It's that twice now, Brazil bet on state science with a 50-year horizon in agriculture and in aerospace, and turned it into something the rest of the world has to buy. Boeing and Airbus own the headlines, but there's a third name in the sky. And next time a regional jet pulls up to your gate, look at the tail. You might be about to board a Brazilian.